Welcome back to this explainer brought to you by Forge College. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here with us today. Look, if you survived our previous lesson, the comparative benefit analysis for Nakamoto Consensus, without your brain completely melting from all that math, well, congratulations. Seriously, you've already done the heavy lifting. Today's explainer is called Drafting the Analytical Report, Structure and Evidence. We're going to take all that raw data you've gathered and literally engineer it into a highly communicable report draft. Think of it like taking a giant pile of unassembled gears and building a precision instrument.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the literal blueprint for what we're assembling today. We'll start with the blueprint of your report, move into crafting the executive summary, map out the methodology, forge those evidence-driven findings, build actionable recommendations, and finally, hit the traceability checkpoint.
Section 1. The blueprint of your report. Assembling the gears of your Nakamoto Consensus analysis.
I really want you to shift your mindset right here, right now. We are building a machine, not writing a novel. So you can go ahead and put away those dreams of winning a Pulitzer for this one. A report draft in this context is a structural assembly. It's a project increment that's meant to be heavily stress-tested by your peers. We are prioritizing precision engineering over creative writing. Honestly, if the logic holds up, we can worry about making it sound pretty later on.
But before you assemble anything, you need your raw materials, right? These are the unassembled gears floating around from our previous lessons. First up, your framing document, which provides our evaluative lens. Second, your security and scalability analyses, giving us the hard evidence. And third, that comparison table. Listen, these aren't just past assignments you leave rotting in some desktop folder. They are the high-octane fuel your final report is going to run on.
Section 2. Crafting the executive summary, the top-level schematic.
So the crucial point is that this is the single most critical piece of your entire machine. Busy policymakers or system designers, they might literally only read this one section, so it has to be absolutely perfect. And look at the strict constraint we have here, 150 to 250 words. Guys, that's about the length of a slightly long-winded text message. There is zero room for fluff. You need exactly 3 things. One central finding, a confidence qualifier, and a single punchy recommendation. That is the whole shebang.
Moving on to Section 3. Mapping the methodology, documenting the assembly process.
Now, your methodology isn't just a Dear Diary entry of what you did. It's a completely reproducible data recipe. First, you list your primary artifacts and their exact file locations. Second, enumerate the exact analytic steps and code paths. Third, state your model parameters and assumptions. And fourth, annotate any inline limitations. Look, if a peer reviewer opens your workspace and has to guess how you got your numbers, your credibility is basically toast. You have to leave breadcrumbs that are impossible to miss.
Section 4. Forging evidence-driven findings, linking claims to raw data.
This right here is where the magic really happens. This is translating all that raw data into compelling arguments. Let's look at some hard numbers. We have a test case in row 4, where an adversary holds 30% of the hash power. Because of that, the probability of a 6 confirmation finality drops from 99.5% down to 92.3%. You see, anyone can just paste a table into a document, but an engineer actually answers the so what. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive difference between an unassembled thought and a precision-engineered finding. A weak claim is super vague, right? Something like, Nakamoto Consensus has trade-offs and risks. Sure, but look at the engineered finding. At 30% adversary hash power, 6conf probability drops to 92.3%, materially reducing short-term finality. It makes a highly specific claim, cites the exact row of evidence, and states the direct implication. It's totally bulletproof.
3. Yep, that is the magic number today. 3 is the absolute minimum number of engineered findings you are required to have in this draft. And to be clear, I'm not talking about 3 spicy opinions. I mean 3 distinct claims where every single one points directly back to a specific piece of evidence in your table. No evidence citation, no finding. Period. This is exactly what separates rigorous Web3 analysis from a late-night Reddit rant.
Section 5. Building actionable recommendations, directing the machine's outputs.
Recommendations are the directional output of our entire machine. You need to tell your audience, whether they're protocol designers or policymakers, exactly what they should do next. And every solid recommendation shares this specific anatomy. You identify the target audience, state the explicit recommendation, link directly back to a specific finding, and document your core assumption. Let's be real, if you recommend massive block sizes but forget to mention you're assuming node operators have infinite hard drive space, you don't have a recommendation, you just have a wish.
Section 6. The Traceability Checkpoint. Stress testing the assembly.
Okay, before your draft ever ships off to peer review, it faces our ultimate quality assurance test. I call it the 60-second challenge. You need to ask yourself, can a peer locate the exact evidence for my claim in under 60 seconds? If a reviewer has to play detective, digging through 3 nested folders just to verify a single metric, your draft fails. Your citations must be so incredibly precise that verifying them is practically instant.
Let's move to the final checklist and see how this all builds together. To pass this module, you must hit these peer review acceptance criteria. An exec summary under 3 sentences with a qualifier. Traceable file paths and scripts for your methodology. Exact row or figure citations for all findings. Recommendations clearly linked to those findings and assumptions. And finally, a properly formatted Markdown file ready for a peer to seamlessly review.
So, what does this all mean for your immediate next steps? Basically, prepare for the capstone build where we finalize this analytical report on Nakamoto Consensus. Take this draft, ensure your workspace is perfectly organized, meaning your scripts are actually in the scripts folder, tables in the tables folder, and get ready for the final polishing phase. You've engineered the structure, now it's literally just about tightening the bolts. I want to leave you with this provocative thought. If your analytical claims can't survive a simple 60-second traceability test by a friendly peer in this course, how on earth will they survive the deeply skeptical, highly adversarial environment of Web 3? Precision documentation is the armor your ideas wear in the real world. So go set the standard. Thank you so much for joining this explainer. Be sure to visit forge.college to dive even deeper into Web 3 and level up your skills. See you next time.